welcome to Logan Smoshpit. Glad to have you here. Do me a favor and please subscribe if you haven't already. You're just in time for another episode of my favorite bands from A to Z. One letter at a time, I'll make my way through the whole alphabet. Seeing as how the previous episode featured A for Aerosmith, obviously the next letter is B. Although I hold groups like the Beatles, the Black Crowes, the Beach Boys, the Backstreet Boys, the Black Eyed Peas, and the Byrds in high regard, none of them are eligible because, for all intents and purposes, they start with T. So, I can take those options off the table and replace them with a bunch of other potential choices. Blink-182, Bad Flower, Breaking Benjamin, Buffalo Springfield, Bring Me the Horizon, Black Label Society, Bon Jovi, Black Sabbath, Blue Cheer, Budgie, Beck, Big Brother and the Holding Company, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, Boston, Blackstone Cherry, Building 429, Bowling for Soup, Blackthorn, Buckcherry, Bush, Bad Company, Blind Melon, Bob Marley and the Wailers, Blue Oyster Cult, and Blackberry Smoke. It wasn't easy, but eventually I determined that Boston represents the strongest bond. Once again, I'm going to use a Q&A format to express my adoration for Boston. If I just so happen to encounter another Boston fan, either in person or online, what types of questions would arise, and how would I respond to each one? Let's find out. First question, when did I become a fan of Boston? Way back in 2006. I give the majority of the credit to the original Guitar Hero video game. Do you guys remember that? Man, I must have spent hours playing Guitar Hero on my PS2. One of the songs that came bundled with that particular game was More Than a Feeling. Although it was a cover version, I really liked the way it sounded. So shortly thereafter, I looked up the proper song, and it impressed me even more. From there, I guess you could say I descended down the rabbit hole. What's my favorite Boston album? The original self-titled album. Every song on there packs a punch. Furthermore, it's a fundamental piece of history. Only a select few albums have crossed the 20 million mark in sales, and Boston's debut is among that elite club. One time my neighbor invited me to come over to listen to a vinyl copy that he saved. It truly was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. What's my favorite song by Boston? Depends on the day. When you're unable to pin down a definitive favorite, I think that's a good indication that you're obsessed. Currently, Hitch a Ride is my top track. Tomorrow, I could very well change my mind. Who is my favorite band member? Lead guitarist Tom Scholz. His advanced, jaw-dropping solos have been an important asset for Boston throughout their career. Have I ever seen Boston live before? No. If there was a way that I could travel back to the 70s, I wouldn't miss their shows for the world. What was the first Boston song that I ever heard? I kind of already answered this question, but just to reiterate, More Than a Feeling. Because it receives so much radio airplay, you might assume that More Than a Feeling has worn out its welcome. Surprisingly, it doesn't annoy me in the slightest. I can still get through it. What's the most recent Boston song that I've listened to? That distinction belongs to the super fabulous tune, Feelin' Satisfied. Do I have any physical accessories related to Boston? Not at the moment, but there's bound to be something sooner or later. After all, they hit close to home. Last question. What's my favorite thing about them? I would probably say the harmonies. Boston often blends multiple voices together, and the end result sounds absolutely gorgeous. Well, that's it. What's your favorite band that begins with the letter B? Tell me in the comments below. That does it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you next time. Till then, rock on.